Okay, welcome. It's Friday the 21st, 71st birthday of my good friend Bob Cones. I am Jim Milligan, the founder and owner of Fustini's, and I'm here with Mallory Milligan, my daughter, wonderful daughter who lives in San Diego. And we are going to do today a chicken skewer with mint sauce. And it's a Greek type of recipe, so it's very heavy on yogurt and guess what? Olive oil. So we've got all the portions lined out here. We're going to make this. Mallory, why don't you go ahead and do it? Just put all this stuff together.
Okay, so what we're going to start with is some Greek yogurt, which will be the base of the marinade, along with our olive oil. Yep. So we're just going to mix this all in a bowl, and then we'll get our chicken in there. While my dad measures some
I'm going to generously pour some single varietal select olive oil.
Beautiful. We've also got some salt going in here and some fresh pepper. We've got paprika. And some allspice. And then we're going to do about, I would say, a little bit under a half of a lemon as well. That'll give it some good flavor. That's probably good. And then another thing that's a little bit different in this, but adds a good flavor, is tomato paste. So it's just a little bit, but gives it some good flavor. Put that in there. And our beautiful olive oil. You could use a flavored oil if you want, an infused oil. We are just using a single varietal. So we'll put that in there. And of course, garlic. And then the other thing that we're going to add that's going to give it a little bit of a zing is some red wine vinegar. So we've got the Vinoso here. Thank you.
A little acid.
So we'll just whisk this all together. We have some skewers going right now on the grill, so we'll be able to see the finished product here. It smells amazing.
Yeah, it does.
We're going to have to invent smell vision on Jamie's Facebook.
Virtual smelling.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thick marinade, so that's gonna be good. So in the recipe, it says that you're supposed to let it sit for about 4 hours.
Marinate.
Yes, we obviously don't have that kind of time, but I think even if you did it for an hour, at least that would make a huge difference. So
yeah,
that looks and smells amazing. So what we're going to do with these, or what we would do after they're marinated for the full time, we'd get them on some soaked skewers, and then we'll put them on the grill for about 5 minutes or so on each side, just till they're cooked through. And when we come back, we will get our cilantro mint sauce going.
Yeah.
Denise?
Over to you, Denise.
Hey, thanks, Mallory. So I've got a couple recipes. I also have a chicken dish, and I found this one, and it's quite unique because it uses ground chicken, actually ground turkey in this recipe. But and then you make them and put them on skewers. And right now I'm going to make what's both a basting sauce, and then I'm going to reserve some of it and use it as a dipping sauce. So I just chopped up some garlic and put that in there. Going to need about 1/3 of a cup of soy sauce. And then we're going to use, let's see, about 3 to 4 tablespoons of our new ginger lime agrodolce. 3-ish. And then it calls for the spicy Korean balsamic, but I don't have any, so I am using some of the ginger honey, which is actually in the recipe for the meatballs as well. So I'll put a little that in there. We're going to add some red pepper flakes. And then we're going to add the juice of a lime. I'll grab my juicer. Probably half a lime because I just made a few of them today. So we're going to whisk that together. And then I'm going to pour half of it into this little dish. And then I'm going to take it over to my skewers that are on my little grill pan. And we're going to baste these for some flavor. And then what I'm going to do is flip them over and baste the other side. Come on. All right, that one's stuck. All right. That one will be the sample we eat later. So I'm going to baste these for some more flavor. I did flatten them a little bit because when you cook meatballs, the center needs to get just as done. And for meatballs, or for any ground beef or ground meat, you need to have 165 as your internal temperature. So we'll let those go a little bit more, and I will get my other recipe started. And that one is going to be real easy. So this actually came from a friend of ours, Jessica. So what I have here is just some cut up raw salmon. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And then some of our Tuscan seasoned blend. I feel like I use that on almost every recipe. And we're just going to toss this together. And I'm going to put it on my pan with some parchment paper. And then I've got my broiler heated up. And I'm just going to stick it in the broiler for about 2 minutes, shake it up, another 2 minutes, and then it'll be ready to serve. And the skewer part of this comes where it's a really nice appetizer for the summer because we're going to skewer the salmon with some tomato and mozzarella and basil. So it's kind of I think she called it a blackened salmon caprese skewer. So that's what's going to go in the oven right now. And then we'll keep watching our meatballs. So back to you, Jim.
Hello. All right, so the skewers are looking awesome.
Yep.
We are going to start making the cilantro mint sauce. We're going to use our little tiny handy dandy food processor. Hopefully we can get the top closed. Last time we had a little bit of trouble. But anyway, so we've got some really delicious mint. We did about half from our garden here at home and half from the grocery store, but it looks and smells phenomenal. So we'll get that here. The recipe calls for about a cup, so I think we're pretty close. So we'll push this down because there is a lot, but it will shrink down once it gets all blended up. We have 1 shallot here. I just chopped everything up a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to blend together. We're going to do, I think it calls for about a tablespoon of lime juice. So this is probably like 1/4 of a lime, 1/3. It's going to give it some nice brightness. Mm-hmm. We decided to add, it wasn't part of the recipe, but of course we're going to add some extra fustinis. We're going to do, the recipe called for some sugar, but instead we're going to use the new ginger and lime agrodolce. So that'll give it the sweetness and the kick. Yeah,
that's got, it's the agrodolce is built off a vinegar, but it's also got cane sugar or agave, so that will give it some good sweetness.
Okay.
And flavor.
Now we're adding a whole bunch of cilantro. It calls for 2 cups, so we might, for the sake of this little guy, not do the full 2 cups, just so we don't break them. It smells awesome. It calls for a teaspoon of a chopped serrano chili. So we've got that here to give it a little heat. You also could do, instead of the ginger lime agrodolce, I think you could do the habanero agave.
Yep.
Because that has that sweetness too. So
And heat.
it calls for about a teaspoon. So we're just going to do a little spoonful.
How's that?
That sounds good.
Okay. There's that guy.
We could also add a little bit more once we taste it at the end.
Yeah.
And then another addition is the Fustini's mint olive oil. Because why not?
Why not? Why not? It's a mint sauce with fresh mint and then mint infused olive oil. There you
Delicious.
go, Mallory.
Thank you, Dad. We're going to do a little bit of fresh cracked pepper here. And some delicious flaky salt. And then the last thing is a 1/4 cup of water. Put that in there. Yum. I can't do this other side.
Oh, the click needs to go in.
There we go. All right. All right. I think that looks pretty good. What do we think? A little more olive oil?
Let's taste it. Get a spoon.
I think if we just blend it up a little bit. Yeah, a little more blending.
Mm-hmm. It's good, yeah.
Yay. All right, that should be good. I'm sure if we had a high-powered blender, it would come together a little bit more smooth, but I think this will work just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to get that off either, so.
Give that a shot. That's what dads are for, huh?
I need to do some
There.
blender
There we
practice.
go. Smells so good. All right, and then we've got our first round of skewers off the grill.
Boom. So with 2 pounds of chicken, which is what was in the recipe, we got 6 skewers with 4 to 5 2-inch chunks on each, for each piece, 4 to 5 chunks per skewer.
So we'll just get a little bit of that on there.
Mm-hmm.
It smells so good, the marinade on the chicken.
Yeah.
And then you can also, of course, bring this sauce to the table and serve and dip there. Yum. So now we have ourselves a lovely lunch.
So when we come back here, Denise, we're going to be sampling a little bit of this. It smells and looks great. So Denise, back to you. We got our chicken skewers with mint sauce, Greek style.
Thanks, Jim. So I'm sure I've mentioned before that we're in the process of redoing our kitchen. So I have a new stove, and I'm not quite sure how to work the whole, what can I call it?
Temperature.
Pardon?
Temperature.
Yeah, well, the temperature too. So I just decided to finish these little pieces of fish in the grill pan when my chicken was done. So it's almost done. We'll turn the heat off. And then if you want to go back over here, so here is my chicken that was done, and I temped it at 165. And then this is my sauce that you can use as a dipping sauce, or else we can just drizzle it right over it. And then just to add a little bit of color, going to finish with a little bit of green onion. So this is going to have a little bit of ginger, a little bit of lime in that flavor. And then for my other skewers, it's just a matter of assembly. So let me make some room. So, in trying to come up with ideas, I was thinking about this being a Minnesota native. Or here in Michigan, we have the Ottawa County Fair. In Minnesota, we have, they call it the Great Minnesota Get-Together State Fair, which didn't happen. But what's always fun about that is I think everything shows up on a stick, which is always fun to walk around. Or if you're out on your patio and serving something, you can just serve it on a stick. So I've got my mozzarella balls, I've got my tomatoes. Let me use a tongs for this because I think they're still going to be quite hot. Oh, basil. Totally forgot basil. Can't have it crazy without basil. All right, so this one will just go on the end. We'll do better next time. So I got my tomato. We'll do basil now. Get some bright color in there. Piece of salmon. I got my mozzarella. So obviously you can put these however you want, and they just look really pretty for serving. It's going to be a nice evening out on the deck. And of course, don't forget some of the balsamic glaze spread over that. So those two things are what's going to be for dinner tonight. And yeah, would love to hear what your favorite skewer recipe is or something new that you're excited to try. And that's what I have today, Jim.
Super. Thank you, Denise. Looks really good. Barry and the family are lucky tonight. And that kitchen's coming along real nice too, Denise. So thanks to Mallory and Katie, who's behind the iPad taking this. We have lots and lots of recipes online. I think Denise has been working on this, but I think we've got close to 1,000 different recipes. So please take advantage of those. I hope you find inspiration in the recipes you see online. I hope you try and enjoy some of these skewers that we did today. Remember, anytime you shop with Fustini's, whether you're in the store or online, to request a complimentary 60 milliliter bottle of your choice while our tastings in the stores are closed. So anything you've ever been interested in and you'd like to try, but you don't want to commit to a full bottle, just ask for a bottle of that complimentary from Fustini's. A final thank you for all those participating in our food gatherers, a fundraiser out of Ann Arbor. That project is doing really well. It closes next Saturday is the last day for donations on our Facebook page. That's it for today. Next week we've got some exciting new products to show you. And I hope you have a great day and a great weekend, and hope to see everybody next week. Thank you.